With the flip of a switch, this guitar can channel its own distortion setting. For all of you who think you need gain to sound good, I have an invention for you. Smells Like Teen Spirit seemed fitting. I mean, that riff can't sound good without distortion. But I just played it with only a guitar in my setup and it still sounded awesome. And it's all thanks to this guitar right here. No, this isn't the newest Fender release, it's a homegrown fuzz guitar. Although Fender did try their hand at this back in the day. Which brings in my other point. I'm no pioneer here. There are hundreds of guitar models that have built-in effects, so why waste time doing something that's already been done? Well, why don't you ask Greta Van Fleet? Anyways, let's look at our competition here. Starting in 1962, you had the Vox Phantom series, along with the Vox Phantom 4, which not only included built-in distortion, tremolo, but it had a built-in drum machine in the 60s. The Fresher straightener sounds like a hair product, but in the 70s it was the only guitar to include a built-in wah-wah. Groovy. Fender did try their hand at this with the VG Stratocaster, but personally I prefer the Marauder. That whole cursed Jaguar look is kinda growing on me. But my problem, every guitar on that list doesn't just focus on distortion. Every brand was focused on topping each other with adding more built-in effects. I'm trying to make the most face-melting fuzz guitar anyone's ever laid their ears on. And harmonic distortion is a good start. In short, you have a linear and a non-linear signal. Think of a linear signal as a Fender Super Reverb. And a non-linear one as a Marshall, dirty and crunchy. A linear signal turns non-linear when additional harmonics are added. Distortion pedals are obviously really good at this. Even prior to that, players were mutilating amplifiers in search of the same grit. This build would operate in a similar way, but instead of permanent damage, it would need an external factor that overloads the system. This external factor would need to be connected to a switch for on and off access, and maybe an indicator light just for fun. At this point, anything would be better than my Mark I design. Video done, that works. Video is over. Hey, at least you could try that one from home. Anyways, there's a little device called an amplifier chip that would work perfectly for this experiment. They're the little suckers powering your headphones in the morning and your solid state amp at night. Now, I'm not going to stand here and act like I knew amp chips were a thing, because I didn't until I invited my friend Josh over. And when he showed up, his only intention was to build this fuzz guitar in a timely manner.
Want off to be facing down or up?
His only ask was for me to promote his Instagram, and you could find that here. I had a lot of time to sit and ponder while I was recording Josh do his thing.
This video is gonna be like all me stripping wire.
During that time, I realized the guitar community is always evolving. In the 50s, you had Link Wray stabbing his amplifier just to get distortion, and then that turned into the first fuzz stomp box in Nashville. Now we have amp modelers. It's hard to imagine anything beating that. Maybe the future of guitar pedals is having them stored inside of the guitar. Maybe Josh and I are on the precipice of a massive gold mine. Would you buy one? Okay, back to the amp chips I mentioned earlier. They're the hypothetical heart of this build, and they're completely adjustable, which means we can alter the gain settings however we prefer. I'm not going to act like I took part in the construction either. I was kind of just the ideas guy. And that was just enough for Josh to run with.
Or this one goes to the input of the chip, this one goes to the output of the chip.
Sweet.
Yeah.
It's kind of giving Tony Stark, using his own ingenuity to lead the way and pulling inventions out of thin air. If he's Tony Stark, then that makes me... As we continued forward, the build looked better and better by the minute. We made sure the control switch was in a convenient spot, but not too convenient like a Stratocaster, if you know what I mean. Now Josh's drill techniques are a little unorthodox, but this man had the fuzz guitar built within 2 hours. Alright guys, we got our fuzz guitar here, totally completed. Now I'm going to compare it to this distortion pedal, and we'll see how it...
Imagine a world where distortion pedals are non-existent. The constant monitoring of pedal boards is tricky enough, but you can't stand to see what happened to our guitar legends. Jimi Hendrix ended up completing his service in the military, although he did release a few jazz ballads in his lifetime. Kurt Cobain is still alive. His only band, the Chicken Pickers, are particularly versed in the bluegrass scene. From the shadows, a new device emerged, created by two woodshedders tired of clean tone. To the establishment, this device was a simple tone knob. To the people, well, it was everything.
Surprise, it was me. I was the guy in the hoodie the whole time. I've done plenty of things that I once considered to be impossible at one point, like when I took my guitar surfing or when I took it snowboarding. Just last month, I thought building a fuzz guitar was going to be one of the hardest challenges yet. All it took was one friend of mine to get it done within a day, and I should have known by now. Anything is possible with the right mindset, and I'm sure you're all itching to see the many cool features of this unique fuzz guitar. So let's get into it. This guitar is a knockoff Strat at best, but it served as the perfect guinea pig to get this experiment started. Much like its predecessors, our fuzz effect is accessible through this conveniently placed switch. But there was a lot of sacrificing of parts to get here. This tremolo system used to be full of springs and screws, but the only thing holding it together now is this wooden block. The entire operation is powered by one 9-volt battery, and we know it's working properly thanks to this red indicator light. These two amp chips are doing all of the heavy lifting and work in unison to overload the guitar signal. This green portion is where you adjust the gain. Using a Phillips head screwdriver, it's pretty simple. Even with 50% gain, this guitar is unbelievably loud. And you can't really tell how good a guitar is unless you hear it in a mix. Josh and I put together a little something for you to feast your ears on. I've been skipping out on a lot of TikTok content to make these YouTube videos, but it feels right, so subscribe.